Pharaoh. I first met Steve Farris on the practice field at Lewis Field. We played on opposite sides. He was a defensive player and I was an offensive player. He was a couple of years ahead of me, and I'm sure we hooked up on occasions during the practice. Players' nicknames were the rule rather than the exception, and Pharaoh was his handle. His unmistakable trademark was the low baritone voice. A linebacker, he was responsible for making defensive adjustment calls based on the offensive formation. In such cases, you would hear, "Banjo Barty, Banjo Barty," echoing throughout Lewis Field. To interpret this for you, Banjo was the defensive scheme, and Barty was the linebacker, the other linebacker. Hence, Banjo Barty. Pharaoh was a hard-hitting, quick linebacker who started for the Cowboys for 2 years and accumulated over 100 assisted and unassisted tackles in one of the toughest conferences in the nation. As I think back, I actually think Steve was bright enough to be an offensive player. Steve came from humble beginnings. Growing up in rural Kansas, as the son of an oil field superintendent, Steve's family moved often. During his high school years in Pittsburgh, Kansas, he excelled in sports and received a football scholarship from Oklahoma State University. Steve arrived at OSU in 1966 as a first-generation college student. In 1971, Steve earned a bachelor's degree in secondary education social studies and followed with a second degree in accounting in 1973. His career path shifted from that of a graduate assistant coach on the field to the head coach of one of the largest publicly traded independent oil companies in the United States. Steve currently serves as chairman and chief executive officer of Apache Oil Corporation, an oil and natural gas exploration and production company which operates in the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom sector of the North Sea, Egypt, Australia, and Argentina. Steve was named chairman of Apache in January 2009, having previously served as president and chief operating officer and vice president of domestic exploration and production. Prior to joining Apache, Farris was vice president and treasurer of Terra Resources, a subsidiary of Sempra. Before working at Terra, he was executive vice president of Robert W. Berry Incorporated, an independent exploration and production company. Steve also serves as chairman of America's Natural Gas Alliance, chairman of the U.S.-Egypt Business Council, a member of Business Roundtable, a member of the M.D. Anderson Cancer Center Board of Visitors, and a member of the Fund for Teachers Board of Directors, a significant philanthropy supported by Apache. Steve has also strongly supported Springboard, a nonprofit organization that builds and maintains 200 schools for girls located in rural areas of Egypt. Steve and his beautiful wife, Vicki, have 6 children and reside in Houston, Texas. In 2009, Brenda Solomon and I visited Steve at his Houston office. The first words out of my mouth when I saw him was, "Pharaoh!" Maybe I should have shown him more respect and said, "Good morning, Mr. President," but hell, this was Pharaoh. Brenda and I shared with him a funding need in the college. Without blinking an eye, Steve graciously provided assistance by endowing a professorship in college student development. I have to give Brenda the credit, though. She brought him stuffed grape leaves, and I truly believe that's what did it. In addition to helping the College of Education, he has donated $1 million for the OSU indoor football practice facility. Steve is a highly successful businessman, a generous philanthropist, a supporter of teachers and education. And all of this despite being a defensive player. In all sincerity, the Oklahoma State University College of Education is honored to induct Steve Farris into the Hall of Fame.